right, football lovers, it's your girl Shantell with the Victory Room, and we're back with a new segment for football, even though I've done it for the NBA playoffs, called The Good, the Bad, and the Downright Surprising. So I tried this out with basketball, and I thought it was a good way to just summarize some of the thoughts after a long week, after a lot of games. So we'll try it out with NFL, and let me know what you think. So we're going to be talking about week 7. So a lot of teams have already played, and you know we're getting up there. We're almost at the halfway mark for the season, and now we have more to discuss. I know I haven't talked as much about the NFL, but trust me, your girl is watching. There's just so many good games, like all day Sunday, Monday, Thursday. I'm watching a lot of football, but now like we're getting into the thick of it. So let's get into it. Now, instead of starting with the good, I'm literally, no surprise, I'm going to go straight into the surprising. So the two teams that I want to discuss here are the Browns and the Patriots. So the Browns, many of you already know Deshaun is out with an injury. I think he's clear, but still sort of healing up. And so the Browns put in PJ Walker, their backup QB. And the crazy part about this is they're 2-0 with PJ. And Deshaun also won 2 out of 4 when he was playing. So, you know, of course, it's very early, but they're not really better off. It seems with Deshaun. So they may be okay to keep him on the sidelines for a little bit. But just on Deshaun generally, in the 4 games that he did play, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and a 52% completion rate in those 4 games. Not really looking like a $230 million quarterback. And not only that, they gave up 3 first-round picks to get him. So all in all, they mortgaged the house, the farm, their firstborn children on this quarterback. And so if he's not going to perform, they're in a doozy of a situation because it's not really something that they can trade. They are married at this point. So it's surprising that the Browns are honestly doing just as good without him as they were with him, especially given, you know, how well he did in the 2020 season before he had his extended break due to his legal troubles. But this is quite surprising for the Browns, and they'll have to figure something out when he gets back to make this make sense. Now, shout out to the Browns defense because they are working. So I'm not saying that, of course, like PJ Walker is doing it all on his own. The defense has really shown up in Myles Garrett in particular in a Herculean sort of way. So we'll see what happens there, but very surprising for the Browns. Moving on, Patriots. This is why we love football. You just never know what may happen. The Patriots beat the Bills in a final scoring touchdown to win the game 29-25. I would never have thought that the Patriots coming in 1-5 would beat the Bills. And you just never know. I think this is a lesson learned, particularly for the Bills, to really never count out a team. They have to figure out a way to get their offense working in a bit more of a uniform structure. But you cannot count out any team in the NFL because teams that aren't doing so well, they want to win. They want so desperately badly. And as you can see in the way they celebrated, you would have thought they won the Super Bowl. And so any game to them could be a game where they just want to win by any means, win dirty, not like dirty plays, but like not like a clean, sort of win. However they get the job done, get it done. And that's what we saw with the Patriots. Now, I will say the offense for the Patriots, I would have categorized them as undisciplined. I would have spoken to a lot of their forced errors and, just having an O-line that wasn't performing much and the defense that wasn't doing much better. They were able to change that. They looked a bit better in this game more broadly. So should Patriots Nation be celebrating? Probably not. There's still a lot to see there, but at least there's a silver lining for them. And now on to the bad. This list shouldn't be that surprising, but it is what it is. So, top of the list, the Broncos. Now, I don't want to beat a dead horse. Oh, that's hilarious. I don't want to belabor the point, but the Broncos aren't doing too well, and they really going to have to figure out what they can do, not just to end the season in a better place, but also to put themselves in a better position for the future going forward. They're currently 2-5. They've been in the press for all the wrong reasons. Their defense, not much great to say there, and their offense is sort of sporadic. They'll go and score on the first drive and then just disappear in the second half of the game. So a lot that needs to get done here. I wouldn't put it all on Russell. I wouldn't put it all on Peyton, but the team as a whole is just not clicking. The rhythm is not there. And so, hey, the trade deadline is coming up pretty soon, right on Halloween. So maybe there's some opportunities for them to make some trades, and we'll see what happens. But right now, it's just an unfortunate situation for the Broncos that I really do hope is able to be turned around, because as a football fan and someone who's watching the games, like, I don't want to go and look at a game and say, oh, this team is definitely going to lose, or, this team is going to look discombobulated, or it's going to be embarrassing to watch at some point, like we saw with the 70 and the Dolphins game. So I think there's still a lot left in the tank for everyone on that team. Some changes need to be made, but I'm really looking forward to it. And hopefully they're not on the bad list come next week. The next team up is the Chargers. Now, this one, I'm still like, they aren't having a great season. They're 2-4 right now, but at least there's some things we can point to. So they lost their center and Corey Linsley. I think he's having some health issues, and so they're playing with their backup center, and their offense has dropped noticeably since his absence. Of course, Justin Herbert has a broken finger, and so that's, of course, going to impact them as well. But this is a team that, we really thought would make it to the playoffs, at least at the beginning of the season. They have high caliber players on their team, and now it's likely that they're going to miss the playoffs. So we'll see, but they're definitely on the list of possible improvement. Unlike the Broncos, though, there's some things to point to as to why they're kind of on this list, but still, this season is unforgiving, and the games are going forward, so they have a lot to do and consider. But hopefully, again, they're not on this list again next week. All right, and let's end on a good note. So, of course, there's potentially some honorable mentions with the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles still doing their thing, still balling out, 6-1. I believe the both of them. So they're doing good. But to me, this week was really about teams finding their footing. We're really in the thick of it now for the NFL season. And this is the time where teams are able to start to distance themselves from the pack and really apply pressure to those teams that are even at the top. So teams that I think are on the good list and finding their footing this week, starting off with the Ravens. So it's not a secret. I'm a Lions fan. I'm rooting for them. I think that you never know, could make it to the Super Bowl. Stranger things have happened. But the Ravens completely shut out the Lions this week. And I think that's really a kudos to the Ravens team finally sort of getting their rhythm and clicking. So, of course, they have an elite quarterback in Lamar. They have a good defense that is really turning into a great defense, ranked super high in the league right now, especially after the win over the Lions. And also a shout out to Mike McDaniel, Mike McDonald, who is their defensive coordinator, who really was able to find ways to put pressure on the Lions. And we already know, like, when Jared is under pressure, he doesn't perform as well. So that was a huge kudos to them and their defense. And Lamar is, starting to ball out. He's completing 71% of his passes. He always has the threat of his legs. So I think the offense is also just starting to fire on all cylinders. And when you have a team like this that is starting to get their stride, the sky is really the limit. And they could be one of those teams that comes in and maybe usurps the throne from some of the more known teams that we're following. The other team that I may get a little bit of pushback for talking about is the Vikings. So I will say that the Vikings have been off to a rough start. I would have put them on the bad list a few weeks ago, but they had an impressive win over the 49ers. And that gives them a lot of confidence. And I think we can never sleep on the Vikings, because if you look to them last season, they were kind of counted out a little bit, and then they were really able to find a way to win, especially close games, whether it's luck, whether it's just great players, whether it's Kirk Cousins pulling it out. A lot of times they're able to find a way to win. And so I think now that they're getting their stride, beating, such a good team in the 49ers, anything can happen. And you pair that with the fact that they have a really favorable schedule for the rest of the year. This is definitely a team that can go deep into the playoffs. So they have Packers, Falcons, Saints, Browns. I think they play the Chargers twice before the end of the season. So the Vikings, I really think are on the good list this week, and I'm excited to see what they do in the coming week. But how did you all like the list? Who do you think should actually be on the good, the bad, and the downright surprising? And do you agree or disagree with some of my picks? But let me know in the comments, and definitely feel free to watch other videos and like, comment, and subscribe. You can go. I'll just edit it out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm trying to be respectful.
Yeah, but you're like, Juju. I'm like, yes, here we can hear you.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Bloopers.